come here for a sec. Why are shows hiring people that are such good writers that's on display in this episode? But like, then you got writers for like some of the other episodes. Why? Stop it. Get some help. Drink some water. It'll quench you. It's the quenchiest. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Holy mother, what an episode. So to start off, this is going to be a spoiler review of Monarch Legacy of Monsters episode 9 titled Mundi. And the keen-eyed among you might have noticed that there's no review for episode 1 through 8. Good eye. I might go back and do them, but probably not. I'm a little too busy at the moment. But I wanted to talk about this because this episode was, in my opinion, truly fantastic. And just to kind of give you a little bit of a brief on how I feel about the show so far, it's fine. I think the show is fine. It's not anything that's like blowing me out of the water or anything, but I think there is a lot of good in it. And I kind of break it down like this. So the modern timeline, I think, has decidedly worse writing than the 50s and 60s timeline. They do enough to make me care about Kate and Kentaro and old Lee Shaw. I think May, unfortunately, is kind of a wasted character, but and they do this awful unearned love triangle thing. I don't even want to get into it. But the stuff from the 60s is fantastic. Great characters, great cast, great performances, really great and more mature writing. And they actually have chemistry. And I think when the timelines parallel each other, the modern stuff is a little more interesting. And I think when the timelines converge, as they do in this episode, it's really interesting. Let's kind of go into a couple of my nitpicks right off the top, just to get them out of the way, and then we'll go into the fantastic stuff because there is a lot of fantastic stuff. So a couple of my nitpicks mainly have to do with canon and continuity, and they kind of fall under that whole umbrella. And the first one is just the time dilation. I like time dilation if it's done right, and I think in this show it is done right. But in Godzilla vs. Kong, people go to the Hollow Earth and are there for hours or days, and then come back, and it's the same time on the surface. And then in the new movie, it looks like Gia and Rebecca Hall's character have been down there for probably months or even years setting up camp. So what is it, 100 years in the future? Like, I just don't quite know what's going on with that. I'm sure they'll explain that away. Another thing that I think is a little bit strange is they kind of messed up, or at least just didn't explain fully, Lee Shaw's timeline. He has rapport with Duval, Bordugo, Tim, Monarch, but based on what they show here and the smash cut they do from young Lee Shaw to old Lee Shaw, looks like from the point he resurfaces in 1982, he's just sitting there being drugged in that psych ward until Kate, May, and Kentaro break him out, unless something else happens that I'm just missing. Maybe that 1 year between when they break him out and when he sees the Honolulu attack, he starts getting involved with Monarch again. I'm not really sure. Oh, the other one. Just the fact that, like, in Godzilla vs. Kong, they mention ad nauseum that they need these heaves to go into the Hollow Earth, or the polarity shift or the gravity shift or whatever will crush you. And in this show, 6 people just fall into the Hollow Earth and they're fine. Like, they just fall in basically naked and no ship, nothing. They're fine. So those things out of the way, let's get into the awesome stuff. First, I just want to shout out Kentaro. I think his character has been sidelined for a lot of the show. Yes, he moves the plot forward a little bit, but for the most part, he's kind of just been like, I don't really want to be here. May kind of sucks. I don't know why. No disrespect to the actress. She's doing what she can with the material, but you know, he doesn't even seem to like May. He didn't even seem to like Kate for a little while, and now he does. But I think they've done enough to where this episode really focuses on Kentaro's reaction to everything. That's what a lot of shows miss these days. They skip to just moving the plot along, and they don't take the time to breathe on how characters react to things. That's what makes something interesting. This entire episode is Kentaro mourning, and his performance is great. Amiko's performance when she sees him alive and just like cries in his chest is like really heartbreaking and but great. You know, the whole episode, like, yes, you get the sense that he's going to try to find a way to help his friends, but for the most part, he's just mourning. He thinks they're dead, and he blames his father for losing Kate when he finally has that awesome scene with his father. That scene is written very well and realistic. It's not melodramatic. It's not overdramatic. It's just like, if that situation happened and your like cheating and fake death father just walked into a room you were standing in, that kind of seems like how it would have played out. There's a little bit of shock, but a little bit of just like, I don't know how to handle this. And Kentaro ultimately blames him for what happened with Kate, and great performances all across. Hiroshi's actor did a really great job in this. And so Kentaro stuff was fantastic. Another thing that was really good is the past stuff with Lee Shaw and Bill Randa. I think they did such a good job with that love triangle between him and Keiko and Lee. And it's not this thing that like turns these characters against each other or anything. They don't get, that doesn't come to blows or anything like that. They were friends. They loved the same woman at different times. And that woman's death also kind of brought them closer together. And their acting and the writing in this scene, as far as like, yeah, they say some poetic stuff as Lee's about to be dropped into the Hollow Earth on that important mission. But, they kind of interrupt it with stuff real friends would say. Lee says something to Bill and Bill's like, I'll go to hell. And that's like how me and my best friend would have acted in that scenario. And I don't know. I like all this stuff really landed and was written in such a good way. And then they have scenes with young Hiroshi, and you really get the sense that this poor kid, you find out Hiroshi isn't doing this, dual life thing and faking his death thing because he's got some like, maybe he does have some greater purpose, but he's not like the king of Monarch or something, and he's got to have families everywhere. No. Nothing stupid or cringy like that. It's simply just this poor kid watched 4 of his parental figures die before he was 10, and he's just an effed up kid. Like, he just grew up with an effed up childhood, and he became an effed up man and who does crappy things. He's not necessarily a bad guy, but he's a guy that's damaged and does bad things, and I really like that. That's stuff humans go through, and I think that's really written well, and I love what they've done with all the character work in this. Another great thing that I really like is what happens with Lee Shaw with the time dilation, where he's down there, the mission goes wrong, he loses all his men and women, and they don't make it out, but for some reason he does. He gets sucked through the portal with the Ion Dragon and resurfaces 20 years later, but he hasn't aged a day, or maybe he's aged 1 day. But yeah, it just really cool, and yeah, that's simple, and we kind of all saw it coming. But it's neat. They did it really well. When Lee is in the hospital and people are coming in hazmat suits and Geiger counter is all over him and reading his radiation and asking him questions. It's kind of scary. It kind of felt like E.T. or something. And I'm glad they didn't gloss over this stuff, because this is the interesting stuff that shows don't seem to understand these days. It's the reaction to things that make the things that happen interesting for the most part. And so many shows just need to move the plot forward because, like Disney, they're making 6-episode TV shows for some reason. And they don't take the time to let stuff breathe and let the real things that would happen. And, Lee has a great talk with Hiroshi, and it's kind of heartbreaking. He learns the kind of man Hiroshi's become and what he believes, and that he thinks his father went crazy. And Lee kind of resents that because Bill, whether he did go crazy and do some horrible things and risk some people's lives and possibly get them killed in Kong Skull Island, at the same time, he was right about all this stuff. And Lee resents the fact that Bill, his best friend, went crazy and hates that. And Kentaro or Hiroshi's like, look, I'm just basically going to put you in a psych ward because this stuff you were doing with Monarch, that's gone. We lived with the Titans for millennia, and it wasn't until you 3 that stuff started going wrong, it seems. So yeah, pretty heavy stuff. And then the episode ultimately ends with Kate doing the trope of like she's about to be mauled by a pretty cool looking boar creature and then is saved. And who is it? It's Keiko. And I was happy about that because not only am I in love with that woman, but I really liked her character quite a lot. And I want to see her more. And it's going to be very interesting to see how she reacts to not only Kate being her granddaughter, because based on the time dilation, she's probably only been down there for maybe a few months in her eyes, maybe a few years, depending on how the time dilation works. But because Kate recognizes her, she saw a picture of her. But also, she's going to have to maybe even meet Hiroshi as an adult who's kind of a crappy adult. And then her reunion with Shaw is going to be interesting. So that's basically all I have to say about this episode. I thought it was really well written, very maturely written, very well acted, pretty good de-aging. And I want to hear what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. What are the top 3 things you would like to see happen in the next episode? And if those things happen, what would you like to see in season 2? Because we most likely are getting a Monarch season 2, but I just want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. Really quick, I want to shout out Scottarooni in the comments. He gave me a really good idea on my Godzilla -1 review to talk about how they could do a possible Godzilla -1 2. and gave me a couple good movie recs to watch and maybe get some good ideas. So I'll be posting a video about that probably within the next 2 weeks because I have a little trip for a video gig I'm doing and a couple other things. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Share this video. If you don't share this video, dishonor. Like Zuko in Avatar Book 1, you're going to be looking for your honor. It's not there. Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your cow.